Hi there. Tonight I'm going to talk about a documentary I just watched. It's only 15 minutes long. It gently brings up the subject of the life of a laboratory rat. Um, it's something I've always kind of knew. I put it in the back burner. Uh, being a patient of mental health for many years, it's definitely something I've had to think about. Um, yeah, so I think that this was a piece of propaganda that if anyone pursued that avenue of making money, even short term, they'd soon find out that that was a mistake. Um, like these medications, they're all going to be horrible. And they don't really describe it that well in this documentary. In fact, they show how much the laboratory rat, that's what they call themselves, those people enjoy the work. And, okay, maybe they make a few $1,000 doing it, but in the long run, that's not really a lot of money. And, you've got to earn it. Like, if it's not particularly hazardous for your health, they're not going to pay you very much money. And, there's so many problems. Okay, what they do to the animals that they test, the real ones, and it's not simply rats. Many people see them as simply vermin. And they're not totally wrong about that. However, it takes someone with a real mean streak to do that job. Like this person needs to be watched kind of mean streak. And part of the fucked up thing is they enjoy their work too, and they like to cover it up with sanctimonious sentiment. Going, we're here to save lives. You people eat your burgers every day. What difference does it make if we're doing this to a rabbit? Those people are the scum of the earth. They exist for a reason, and it's not a good one. Scum of the earth. No one's going to talk me out of that one. Yeah. It goes further than that, though. Because they tested on all kinds of animals, and part of their mechanism in their brains for not becoming depressed is to make humor of the situation. You run into these clowns on the internet, usually through Facebook forums, and there are different types, obviously. There's the vegans out there, and they'll use any psychological tactic to make you stop eating meat. Don't think there's anything wrong with having a steak. And there are people who, experiment on things. And, people throughout history have been test subjects of everything. The Germans were reputed for poisoning their own soldiers during the First World War to find the most effective means of disabling the enemy. They experimented on their own guys because they were easier to obtain. So that sort of stuff is not new. And, it's really a very creepy scene. Like, the world is filled with creepy things that you open the door and see something and weren't expecting it, and it's, there's no getting around it. It's sickening. And, they always have their book of, if this was their response, I'll respond this way, blah, blah, blah. I don't care what they think because I'm bettering the world, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you'd also better the world if you fell into an oven. It really all depends on who you ask. And these so-called laboratory rats who voluntarily go through these experimentations so they can make a little bit of money. By the way, most of them don't make any money at all. Don't think Big Pharma is not a business and that they actually want to give money out to people. They don't. If they can find any excuse not to pay you or pay you less, that's what they're going to do. And if they don't have to pay you anything at all, then even better. And if you're stupid enough to go, well, I have this condition, therefore I'm going to try this radical new treatment to try and fix that. That's exactly what they want, and it's probably not going to get you anywhere anyway. Except it's probably going to hurt a whole lot. Because that's the thing about modern medicine, is most of it simply hurts. And if you think the hardest part is, having your blood drawn, you'd be wrong. You'd be totally wrong. There's all kinds of things that come from these medications, and trust me, most of them are bad. And they probably don't even tell you what they're going to be until, you're already committed into the test. You're signing your life away for what? A few peanuts in comparison to how much that company's going to make on that product. And they did make at least that point in the documentary going, the real test happens when it hits, the general public. Because they only have finite amount of test subjects before that. So, they took Zantac off the shelf because it was causing cancer, they noted. And it's like, that fucking product was there for fucking years. Fucking years. And now they're pulling it off, and they're only pulling it off because they don't have a choice. It's a fucking evil corporation. I mean, this is not news to a lot of people, but there actually are people who would defend the system because they're going, well, gee whiz, we're trying to advance medical science and things like that, man. Do you want to live in the Stone Ages forever? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you could try not being an obese pig who has sex with dirty women. Then you wouldn't need STD medication. You wouldn't need diabetic medication or heart medication or any of that kind of stuff. You could try that, for example. But no, you can't abuse a bunch of people or animals in doing that, can you? And it turns the wheel of evil. And, this wheel of evil is not actually a complicated thing. And the best and brightest supposedly work in these fields, and I haven't seen anything substantial of their capabilities. They have their resources, and they're actually quite incompetent at what they do. I know there's someone who's going to have a 100-book phrase saying, blah, 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 this is where you're wrong, and blah, 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 because that's the type of people they are. However, I happen to think I'm right. I happen to think there is something fucked up about people giving people medication for the purpose of experimentation and shit they'd never take themselves, ever. And it's like, but I don't have this particular condition. We could always give it to you if you like. Shove a bunch of hamburgers down his throat and make him obese. These people are trash. Every last damn one of them. And I can't take it when people abuse animals. I don't care what their damn reason is. I mean, people gotta eat meat, but there's no reason that, a burger or a cow cannot be killed humanely. I mean, it's real sad what happens to pigs, and how they're, abused and treated very, very poorly in many ways. And it's the same type of people that run the pharmaceuticals. So out there's a bunch of pig fucking farmers who think the exact same as our supposed best and brightest in universities. And don't act like throughout history that there haven't been people who work in the pharmaceutical field, who experiment on animals, who weren't perverts. And that's using the word lightly. Obviously, this is not a subject I enjoy talking about, so I'll leave it at that. However, I do think it is wrong to do what they do. I mean, it's something you got to put up with because they're not going away, but that doesn't make them right. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Talk to people later. Have a good one.